Did you mention Sterling Marlin was up in the top 5, 4th?
Well, we knew he'd be there eventually.
Sooner or later. Good run for Mike Skinner. Terry Labonte, Texas Terry, up to 6th place.
Got Brooks and Dunn there on Sterling's car. We should mention that's not just a merchandising tie-in, but Kix Brooks and
so wave him on. Next time now, we're coming. You got a vibration.
Kix Brooks and Ronnie Dunn race Legends cars, and they're pretty hard racers themselves.
They are. They make great music, too.
That was Tony Glover we heard talking. Sterling Marlin evidently had radioed to him that I feel a little bit of vibration. You heard Tony Glover tell him, get in here to pit road. Let's get those tires off.
Pretty give a hand signal.
Mark Martin is in. He'll give up the lead to pit.
4,200.
Hut Strickland comes with him. Here comes Marlin.
4,200 on attack.
4 tires.
Matt Kenseth, the new leader.
Get away. 10, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Dick Berggren. Chassis change on Mark Martin. Now they go around to the left sides. Going to be a little slower than Rusty's stop by about a second and a half.
Get the wall. Get all the way out. Get all the way out. Nice job, guys. Below the white line, all 4.
Terry Labonte comes to the pit lane. Labonte has had a good run today. He just climbed to 6th during this run, and now Tony Stewart is the leader.
Well, and the reason he's the leader, remember, he came back to pit road at lap 178 when they pulled that spring rubber out. He has about 15 to 17 laps extra on these guys as far as fuel.
Well, as far as the fuel was the way we were calculating it before they all ran out.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett, though, he ran 69 laps, and Darrell, that's, you know, 70 laps is about the window that most cars are trying to run.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll find out how fast his car is, see if he can race his way back in this thing.
Dale Jarrett did lose 2 laps to race leader Tony Stewart, coasting into the pits out of fuel. 238 laps complete in Texas. Tony Stewart leads Matt Kenseth.
The Samsung Radio Shack 500 on Fox is brought to you by your neighborhood 7-Eleven store. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. By Old Spice, the deodorant of NASCAR. By Enterprise Rent-A-Car, we'll pick you up. And by 1010-220. Dial it and all calls up to 20 minutes or 99 cents.
We're under caution at Texas. We'll show you why in a minute. First pit stops. Leader Tony Stewart. Second place Matt Kenseth and Mike Skinner. None of whom had stopped under green. Making their stops under the yellow here. That has now trapped all but the first 8 cars. A lap or more down.
And it's not because these guys were getting better fuel mileage, just they had pitted about 15 laps later than the other guys, so they were able to run further.
Let's show you why we're under caution. Robbie Gordon tried to take down the wall.
Boom, right front, down.
Turn 3. Now, just prior to Gordon getting into the wall, Rusty Wallace made what may turn out to be the move of the day as he chased down race leader Tony Stewart and on fresh tires drove on by. A lap later, Gordon brings out the caution.
That was a good break.
It was good for Rusty, but it was bad for fellas like Kurt Busch, Jeremy Mayfield, Johnny Benson, Stacy Compton, and Ryan Newman, and Mark Martin and Bill Elliott, who now find themselves a lap down.
Yeah, Rusty was the only car that pitted that now has stayed on the lead lap. Now, Ricky Rudd and Jimmy Johnson in the 48-28, what they've elected to do is stay out. That will put them on the tail end of the lead lap, hopefully get a caution shortly after the restart.
Boy, if you could predict cautions, you could be the man.
I guarantee you could.
Couldn't? You never could?
Well, I think the key right now...
always had a Pam Jam.
The key right now is going to be who lines up next to Tony Stewart and may have a chance.
Everybody's going to
get his lap back. No, I mean on the restart. Who on the inside lane is going to have a chance
And if you're at the tail end of the lead lap at the front, you have the option of either starting in the outside line or the inside line if you're at the front.
Well, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be on the tail end of the lead lap. That leader's going to restart as far back as I can make my start.
Now, for all of your friends who had to go to work today, call them this afternoon and tell them that they'll see an encore presentation of the Samsung Radio Shack 500 tonight at 7:30 Eastern and Pacific, followed by a special presentation of FX's new, critically acclaimed, gritty, hard-hitting drama, The Shield.
And, honey, don't worry. I'm not going to come home and watch it again. When they have those
You're talking about the race or The Shield?
no, the race. When they have the replays, she said, why are you watching it again for? Just the way it is.
So 6 cars stayed on the lead lap, and a couple of more stayed out while those leaders pitted, so they'll be on the tail end of the lead lap right behind the pace car when we restart. You're watching from Robbie Gordon's car as the wrecker backs up to it and hauls it to the garage. He will join Ward Burton, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the garage area. The only cars out of the Samsung Radio Shack 500. So when the leaders pitted, everybody else pulled up, and that's why we will have several cars on the tail end of the lead lap. Let's explain how this works. When the caution comes out, the pace car picks up the field with the leader in front. Well, when the leader comes in and makes his stop on pit road, everyone else pulls up behind the pace car. The leaders come out of the pits, have to go to the tail end of the line, and that's why when they line up for one to go, those cars that stayed out end up on the tail end of the lead lap behind the pace car, but in front of the race leaders. It's confusing, but it's going to make it a tough job for Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart with all those cars up in front of them. They're not going to make it easy for the leaders.
It's going to make Matt Kenseth restart this race in about 10th position on the racetrack, even though he's the leader.
And now is when you're sitting up there in front of that leader saying, oh, please, let there be a minor caution real quick.
Yeah, see now there's the pace car, and here are all these cars on the tail end of the lead lap up in this area on the outside lane.
Oh,
and if there were a caution, there's your leader Kenseth right there. Everybody up here would get the free pass and come around before the pace car picked up the leader again.
And it's their option, as I documented earlier, which line they get in. What I'm seeing, some of them are going to the outside, some of them going to the inside. But I'm like you, Darrell. I'd have been up there negotiating with these 9 or 10 spotters saying, where can we line up to keep that leader as far back? It would be Jimmy Johnson, Ricky Rudd, Ryan Newman, Mark Martin, Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Ford, and Terry Labonte, and throw Dale Jarrett in the mix, which he has to make up 2 laps. He's at the tail end of 1 lap down.
See, Jimmy Johnson elected to take the inside on the restart, which is like being on the pole. So that's probably a smart move on his part. Gives him the preferred line into the corner. Got Ricky Rudd up on the outside.
We'll use Fox Tracks to help you keep track of the 2 race leaders, Matt Kenseth and Tony Stewart, as we get set for this restart.
And green, green, green.
Boy. I don't know if Jimmy Johnson didn't go or Ricky Rudd went too soon. Doesn't matter. They're still lap down or on the tail end of the lead lap. But Fort Rudd shot out there.
And there are your leaders on Fox Tracks in mid-pack. Oh, Rudd didn't get off turn 2 well at all.
No, he
I'm
did.
not so sure. I don't know what happened with him. I'm not so sure. He might be in trouble here, guys. He took off awfully soon.
Right now, we still have about 6 or 7 cars out in front of the leaders. Right now, the leaders are actually side by side. Tony Stewart in the 20, Matt Kenseth in the 17. Tony Stewart goes below him and gets the lead going into turn 1. He is the race leader now.
Well, you know, they made that adjustment on that 20 car, took that rubber out of that right front spring, and the car's been running a lot better since they did that.
And coming in, taking that rubber out of the right front springs would enable him to stay out and catch his caution as well.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Jarrett got all squirreled up there.
Oh, he did. He about got the back end sucked out from under him. That could have been ugly.
And now he's going to pay the price because he's caught up high.
I didn't know it's caught up. He got a lot of catching up to do. Man, this was...
you got to see this again.
This is exciting right here. This got the 12 on the outside of him. He gets a wobbling just a little bit. Gets the back end swung out. And man, oh man.
Had his hands full.
So did Bill Elliott right behind him. Let's ride with Elliott through this.
That is breathtaking stuff, not just for Dale Jarrett, but for everybody around him.
Right now, the leaders just went back by him to put him 2 laps down.
And we talked about the track changing and what it was going to do. Cars that were good early in the race may not be so good late in the race, and I believe Jarrett's is a product of that.
Rusty Wallace working on Kenseth for second place. Not yet.
Rusty Wallace got a pretty good hot rod today, and he's got a good chance of winning this race. Just the luck of the draw, you know, with Jarrett running out of gas, and then, you know, all of a sudden this race takes on a whole new look. Cars that were we thought had this thing under control are not even factors now.
Rusty and Kenseth continue the battle back and forth here. This is a battle for second behind leader Tony Stewart.
Jeff Burton, unscheduled pit stop. Also Shauna Robinson. That's Kenseth and Wallace go at it. Johnny Benson, the 10 car, is 1 lap down in 17. You're riding with Benson.
I believe Jeff Burton in the 99, he's got the, really hadn't heard much of a Texas stripe.
No, but they definitely scraped up against something.
Meanwhile, while Rusty Wallace and Matt Kenseth running side by side for second, Tony Stewart, our leader's out there running a ½ a second a lap faster than those guys in that somewhat clean air. Smoke! Ryan Newman, the 12 car. Caution is out. What a break for some of these guys.
The free pass will go to Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, Sterling Marlin, and Terry Labonte.
All those guys that were a lap down. Everybody except Dale Jarrett. I think Dale Jarrett, because of what happened to him off turn 4, is not going to be able to take advantage of this.
Nope, all those other drivers were on the tail end of the lead lap, out in front of the race leader. The caution flag picks up the leader. They get the free pass and come all the way around.
And that's what really hurt Dale Jarrett, Kurt Busch, those guys. The caution came out almost right on the leader. They didn't even have a chance to fight him to try to get back.
No chance to race back. Wow, how quickly things change.
So this will be a reset.
I'll let you cool down, Leroy.
88's 2 laps down. I think he'll probably come back down pit road and do his normal service and try to get back up here to the front maybe.
And because he's 2 laps down, he would have to restart in the inside. The only way you can restart in the outside line behind Tony Stewart if you were 1 lap down.
Or
on the lead lap.
To the lead out, yeah. I got a feeling, seeing how he bobbled off turn 4, he might want to come in and work on that thing just a teeny bit. 99's going behind the wall too, guys.
5th caution of the day, lap 254. 80 laps to go.
Well, we about know the guys that made their lap up. They're going to be at the back of the lead lap. It's a free ride to pit road. Come get you 4 fresh tires. Now, there's 80 laps to go. Nobody could really make it from here. No more cars on the lead lap, DW. I believe I'd have you on pit road. Let's go ahead and get us 4 more tires.
And Tony is coming.
And Dale Jarrett in the 88 stayed out. He's trying to put as much distance as he can between him and the leaders back there.
But he has to stay out. He's not on the lead lap. He can't fit this time.
Right. That's exactly right.
See what he does next time.
Yes.
Dick Berggren.
Well, a KG veteran, Rusty Wallace, at age 45, has been this route many a time. He and his new crew chief, Billy Wilburn, have decided to pit for 4 tires and put fuel in it. The game plan, this will be the last stop except for a quick splash and go late. To Steve.
Well, Dick, right side.